back, everyone, to Pod of Thrones. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jennifer.
And you may recall from the music that you just heard leading into the show, assuming that I don't forget to add it, which I have done occasionally.
Ding dong.
That music was made by this dude that we affectionately known as J Sarge.
J Sarge!
He is on the line today.
Woohoo!
I am. Hello.
Everybody clap.
So happy to be here.
I think it's been about 2 years based on my Skype records.
Wow.
We don't do guests that often anyway, but yeah, we do have the ones that we love the most, and you're certainly on that list. So welcome back. It's good to have you here. We have a topic in mind for the day, but we just need to catch up a little bit first. It's been a fucking long time again. Anything exciting to talk about, babe?
No, I was looking for exciting stuff. I mean...
Oh, no, I just meant about us. You know how our audience loves us.
Exciting. Elden Ring.
Well, we're going to talk about Elden Ring.
We've been talking about it so long.
Just testing you.
Feels like it's Elden Ring at this point.
I was just thinking about how much has been happening over the last couple of months, not the least of which is that one of your oldest child has had major spine surgery.
Mine.
You know, interesting stuff.
Right? Poor baby. My baby.
My eldest just finished her first year of college.
Woo-hoo.
I had to go get her from Kansas. You know, kids are doing lots of stuff.
Yes.
We have all teenagers now.
All teenagers, all in high school next year.
Yeah, next year we will only have 2 different schools that they go to on a daily basis, which is kind of nice.
Right, versus 3 this year.
Yes.
That's got to be nice.
Yep.
Holy crap.
At one point we had 4
for a while.
Yeah.
4 different school drop-offs and pickups. And our school system hates us. Hates blended families at the very least. So it was 4 different schools, and then they each have like different times when there's like half days on Mondays at one school, half days on Wednesdays at another school, and late starts on different days at another school. It's just a horrible, punishing schedule. But it's almost over. We made it, babe.
Woo!
Woo.
We did it.
I'd fist bump you, but you're 10 feet away from me, and I can't quite reach. So J Sarge, how is you?
I'm fine.
Our audience hasn't really talked to you heard from you in 2 years. So what kind of stuff has our resident musical genius been up to?
I moved. I don't live in the sticks anymore. I live in the big scary city.
The big scary city. Yeah. How's that going?
Great. I like it. I like it a lot.
You like city life? There's ample available places like Wendy's. That's
or better.
Yeah, you know,
right?
Better.
Restaurants. Do you miss anything about your old Sticksville?
I miss being able to just, like, the outdoors was right there. I just had to walk out my house and I was somewhere interesting and different and away from everybody. Here you have to drive about an hour to find any kind of piece like that. So
Same. Although kind of not.
And yeah. Let's see what else.
Jennifer wants to live in nature, but she hates being cold. So we'll see how that goes when we get older.
Yeah.
What were you about to say? Sorry.
Oh, I traded the fear of wildfire for water system failure, which seems to happen a lot in the city. So
what?
There have been sinkholes and just pipe ruptures and stuff, shutting off roads, flooding places.
Sounds like they need to...
great idea to get a ground floor apartment, but not apartment condo, but I guess same thing really. But
sounds like they need to invest in their infrastructure.
Oh, no.
Are we allowed to say what city this is? Or is that a secret?
Yeah, I live in Salt Lake.
I'm happy to keep your secrets, but I'm just thinking Salt Lake City, Utah seems to be a state with a lot of money. The Mormon Church, which I think runs the state, right? I mean, they seem well off. Am I crazy?
Well, yeah, but that's because they don't spend the money on infrastructure.
No,
they'll build churches and temples. They'll build churches with massive lawns. They have to keep watered and green. It's don't get me started. You know, it's a whole subject. Yep.
Yeah, that would be a fun special episode someday, but it won't really be on topic of nerd stuff. Just like how one musical genius got out of the Mormon Church. What? Would that be a great tagline?
Mm,
The J. Sarge story. Coming to Netflix. It could be right up there with your true crime documentaries you're always
well, there's
watching.
got to be some kind of murder or ghosts in it for
Murder or ghosts?
or both.
The Mormon Church probably has both.
Oh yeah, so many. Yeah.
Just sprinkle a little of that.
God did prepare a land for them. They only had to, when they got here, it was God had prepared it for them, so it was completely ready. All they had to do was commit some, massive genocide, and everything was theirs. So it's, lots of ghosts.
It's every one of the Caucasian nature.
Yes.
Okay. So I've talked about this before, but usually like in between episodes where we record, I get like a daily feed of Game of Thrones headlines, and Google certainly knows the shit I'm into, so it'll suggest different news stories for me, and I'll try to collect all those. I'll just keep tabs open on my phone's browser forever. And then we do an episode, we talk about some of the stories. Now that we are finally recording, I was looking through that stuff. I shut most of it down. I was just like, forget it. It doesn't matter anymore because there's so much other stuff happening. We got a lot to talk about, but, just a couple quick headlines, that over the last couple of months, George R. R. Martin swears to Christ. He's serious, you guys, working on The Winds of Winter.
I was just reading something he said.
Liar.
He had an interview recently. I don't remember where, but he said that he'll be working on them until he dies.
Until he dies?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I mean, Robert Jordan never finished the Wheel of Time series, right? They wound up bringing someone else in to finish it, so it's not unheard of. There's a good chance that could happen with Game of Thrones, but I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty, especially when you get to the books are so intricate. There's so many little things happening. It would be a shame if someone had to just kind of make up the rest based on some notes that they took off of his computer.
Or just take the movie and...
Oh, no.
Right?
No, don't do that.
Oh.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I know exactly. I think we've already seen what happens when we trust someone else to write his material for us.
Right. Well, they could do better. There's better writers out there, but still.
He also said that in that interview, he said that he pitched, or he and whoever he was with pitched the Game of Thrones movie or miniseries or series, whatever it's called, as what did he say? Oh, The Sopranos in. Did you hear about this?
No.
It was The Sopranos in medieval times, but I think it was something specific. I'll have to read it again. Or
do you still have it open?
Checks out the Lannisters.
No,
the Lannisters are definitely like the organized crime of Westeros.
Oh yeah, sure. Tywin was totally a Don, but he got offed, and then other people had to try to step in. Who would be the Fredo of that situation? Jaime? Is Jaime the Fredo?
Jaime is kind of the Fredo because
he does kind of fuck up.
He does turn on the family. Yeah.
He kind of turns on the family. He's kind of a fuck up. Like he wants to do good, but he keeps fucking up. It's in his case, it's because he wants to bang his sister.
Because he's in love. It's a weird love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
It's a weird love
in Tennessee, but okay.
Yep.
And Jamie's too far gone to change.
Wait, do you have any listeners in Tennessee? I want to apologize. I meant Arkansas. I mean Alabama. I mean everywhere in the South. I mean, sorry. I'm gonna shut up.
Let's just say South Carolina, because then we can officially taunt Lore Master Kevin. Speaking of Lore Master Kevin, I had this. Do you have the thing, or are you still looking, babe?
No, I don't have it.
All right.
No idea where it was.
Speaking of Lore Master Kevin, I had a note for the last time we recorded, and then I forgot about it amidst all the other hubbub. So I wanted to make sure I said it now. Lore Master Kevin, who has thus far remained half anonymous, we just know him as Kevin, is also an author that has books and stories and things that you can read. And I wanted to plug that because I don't know if he ever mentioned it on the show before, but he used to tell us that he would spend a lot of his free time writing, but he didn't talk about it often. But he does have a book available on freaking Amazon. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, what's it called?
That is very cool.
Gosh, you know what? I should have that in front of me. God damn it, I suck. I'm the worst fucking podcast host. Hold on. You know what?
Hey, you know what? Google it right now, and then we'll cut it back.
We'll talk about it at the end.
No, I'm getting it. Hold on.
They do have a thing called editing, you know.
No, editing takes a lot of time.
A couple of cut. What? Oh my gosh.
He has 4 books actually on Amazon. Headhunter, Fletcher, and Investor. That's a trilogy. And then there's also a book called Broken Road. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes to his Amazon page. And also he has langfordbooks.com. So if you want to learn more about him, Kevin, the mystery guy, no last name, but you can find him at langfordbooks.com. And then you can learn more about Lore Master Kevin.
Cool.
Yes.
So do you find him under the K's for Kevin or L's for Lore Master?
No, yeah, he's under K for Kevin, but langfordbook.com is just his sort of publishing enterprise. It has nothing to do with who he is or his real life identity.
Okay.
Although funny enough, if you Google Kevin Langford author, there's someone else who has written some medical books. So he still maintains some level of anonymity no matter what he does.
Well, we just crapped on it right there. That's for sure.
Maybe it's a good thing. I mean, the dude's got a life. He's got kids. He doesn't need stalkers.
Yeah, he's right.
Let's see. What else do I have? Okay, this is one of the most important headlines that I've ever seen in my life. Disney Plus is making a series as a sequel / spinoff of the quintessential fantasy movie of all time, Willow.
What?
Willow just came up like what? One night or 2 nights ago. We were looking through movies to watch, and my son kind of crapped on Willow as being a bad movie, and my daughter, thank God, rushed to its defense, which made me very proud. It's a great movie. It's not, I mean, some of the special effects maybe haven't aged. I mean, it's the 80s.
For its time, it was super entertaining.
Totally.
And Val Kilmer
in his prime.
He was my favorite.
Something just happened to Jennifer over there. She got a little sweaty.
I jiggled a little.
Warwick Davis, I guess, will be returning as Willow in this series. Now, there is a series of books that was written ages ago, I think shortly after the movie came out. I think it was a trilogy of books. They're not in print anymore. So once I found out about them, I wasn't able to easily get my hands on them, unfortunately. So it might be based off those. It might be new storytelling. But the reason that this is a top headline in my world is not even because Willow's so awesome. It's because of a casting announcement for one of the stars. Now, tell me if you know who this is before I spoil it for you. The actress's name is Rosabella Laurenti Sellers. Anyone?
No.
No. In our world, in the Pot of Thrones world, you will know her better as Sexy Snake.
Really?
Sexy Snake!
What?
Tyene Sand. The actress that played Tyene Sand is going to be in the Disney Plus Willow series. So
cool.
I might have to watch that show by myself. No offense.
What?
Nothing.
Jeff's going to do some jiggling while he watches it.
It was the Sopranos of the Middle Earth.
Sopranos of Middle Earth. Sure. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I can see it. Except instead of like orcs, we had stone men and snow zombies. Otherwise, yeah, there's some similarities there. I did have a note that said SDCC ? San Diego Comic-Con. I don't think we're going to try for it this year. It's still a little sketchy. And also not a lot of announcements about what is even going to be there. So it's hard to be jazzed.
Yeah, and it's super expensive.
And it's coming up really soon. So maybe next year we'll try again for press credentials. Give it a shot. But this year...
We might not get in next year, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds at all.
Maybe we should apply. Just in case.
But then if they say yes, then we have to go.
Why?
Because otherwise they get mad at us. They'll know if we used our badges.
We could go one day. We probably would want to.
Well, we'll talk about it after the show. We'll take a look at what we got. Okay. And then all those were just the minor little headlines because I have a fuckload of notes, brief notes, but still notes about all the shows that we've ever talked about that are coming up. Because like we've gone through months and months here where we didn't have a whole lot to talk about. So we've been talking about a few other shows on the side, the Game of Thrones headlines, Sophie Turner's pregnancy news, all the little things. But now we're about to be fucking deluged with content.
Okay. But did we talk about the release date?
It's on my list.
Okay.
All right. So guys, brace yourselves. Here's what's coming up in the near future of nerdy shows that we've covered or our house has watched or we've in some way talked about. Stranger Things. The new season is coming out 5 days from now as of this recording, May 27th, 2022. Now it's Netflix, so that should be something that we can binge at our leisure.
Nice.
If we wanted to just knock it all out, we could do that. And we might want to because we don't have a lot of time.
Is this going to be the final season or do we know?
I believe that's season 4. What, J. Sarge?
Yes, season 4. Oh, I don't know. I've heard that some of the episodes are pretty long.
The Stranger Things ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was an article that said, I don't know if it was true. It might have been clickbait. I didn't read the article, but it said they have some pretty long.
Well, I mean, maybe some of them are short too. I think we saw that.
Pushing 2 hours though long.
Well, that's a lot. That's what I wish Game of Thrones would have done in their final 2 seasons is, less episodes, but give us longer episodes. Something in our bathroom just collapsed. I'm sorry if you had to hear that on microphone, but maybe it didn't come through.
Oh, I heard it.
Did you?
We'll look into that later. I don't see any water spraying, so I'm sure whatever it is, it's fine. Stranger Things, I believe, has been planned for 5 seasons the whole time. So I think their arc, they had it sketched out a long time ago, and it's supposed to be a 5-season show. So we got one more after this.
I'm guessing Elle's going to die.
That would be so fucking sad. I mean, they teased us with her dying at the end of season 1. They're not going to do that. Someone can't survive. I mean, Will seems like a goner since he still is like infected with dark shit, right? Or did they cure him?
I don't know.
It's been
I think
so
he's
long.
reinfected. I'm not sure.
I remember they kind of like boiled him to get one of the smoke monster things out of him, but then I don't think he's completely all better.
No, I don't think so either.
He might even become a villain. I could see that happening. Kind of like the Wheel of Time with like Matt on the Wheel of Time, how he kind of infected with darkness and it's still in his soul.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure some of the...
Hey, sorry.
Hey, fuck you.
Oh, fuck
I liked
you.
that show, damn it.
Fuck you.
Why?
Because there's not a lot of fantasy content out there.
I know, but the fantasy content can't just be fantasy content to be good. It should be good.
Well,
it should be a little better.
It was fine, and it was very Tolkien-esque.
We knew everything that was going to happen at the end of the first episode. We called it. Me and my wife and my daughter, who watched it all together, we turned to each other and said, "It's the ginger guy is the special one, and it's going to be a lot like Lord of the Rings from here on out." Oh, there was a white city. Oh, they went through Moria. Oh. Wow, I'm really glad we have a series about a very special young boy. We really needed one of those.
There's not enough special boys out there anymore. There's special girls too, though. I'll give it to Wheel of Time for that. Lord of the Rings does not have many competent females.
No, it absolutely doesn't.
No.
And if you go back to the books, there's even less because, like, what was her name? Not Ariel. Arwen.
Arwen is a footnote, basically.
Right. She doesn't cast fucking cool magic water horses that scare away White Walkers.
Just
God damn these shows. They're all mixing together. Ring wraiths.
Exactly. Yeah, they're White Walkers, ring wraiths.
They're all the same.
It just depends on the season. If it's after Labor Day, they're White Walkers. If it's after Memorial Day, it's White Walkers.
Right.
If they're after Labor Day, so
ring wraiths.
Nazgul. Yes.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but my point being, that's one thing Wheel of Time has going for it. Lots of competent female figures. I'm going to try to get my daughter to watch it with me this summer. Probably wait for Father's Day to start it because then she won't be able to say no. And I want to see what she thinks because she has problems with female depictions in a lot of shows. So I'd like to see her take. And I'll report back.
Sorry. Yeah, my impish laughter there was just remembering watching that show with my kid and her just hating it. But
she was not swayed by the strong female characters.
No, she was not. She was she complained about the writing a lot.
Oh, well.
But hey, I told her, let's see how it does in the second season.
Yeah, no first season is perfect. Yeah. Let's give it a chance, you guys. And that is on my list here. Okay, so Stranger Things coming May 27th. Then, like a week later, The Boys, Season 3, coming to Amazon Prime on June 3rd, 2022. Now that probably, I'm guessing, releases 3 episodes then in a weekly dump, because that seems to be Amazon's model. Don't know for sure, but that's coming June 3rd. That's right around the corner, babe. And then Umbrella Academy Season 3 coming June 22nd to Netflix. Again,
okay, do we want to place bets now on whether or not Juno is the person who causes the apocalypse again?
I watched the trailer the other day, and she mentions how she's caused a couple apocalypses, or apocalyptus.
Apocalypses.
But
apocalypses.
she was mentioning that as a threat to some other people, so maybe she's going to be okay this time. Or he. I know that since Ellen Page is now Elliot Page, yes. The character Vanya is also changing to be a man, but I'm wondering if that's just going to be, we pretend like it's been that way all along, or will there be a change in the character, either through magical means or, medical means? I'm very curious to see how they decide to handle that. But plus, they put us into this season with this whole, like, alternate reality version of Earth with a whole different, I guess, the Sparrow Academy instead of the Umbrella Academy, and they're kind of dicks. So it's going to be wild, I think.
Well, now it's an alternate version of an alternate version, so it's starting to get...
Well, that's why they have to fix it. They have to fix it or the world's going to end. That's the key. A house family favorite, What We Do in the Shadows, new season coming July 12th.
Yay, same cast.
That'll be weekly on Hulu one day after it shows on FX.
Except for Colin Robinson, or is he back as a baby? That's
Colin
right.
Robinson's a baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, they're gonna, whatever they do, it'll be great.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt about that.
That's a great show.
And then after the premiere of What We Do in the Shadows, the next one chronologically on the list is House of the Dragon.
August 21st.
To HBO, August 21st. Yes. Thank you.
Sorry. I got excited.
No, I am thanking you. I'm glad you have the info. August 21st. And that's going to be
people weekly. Are going to watch that show and say it was good, but wouldn't it have been nice if George R.R. Martin had actually just finished the other book we were looking for? You think it'll be good enough for us to not ask that question? That's what I'm saying.
God, I don't know. Will it be good? I don't know. I hope so. I really hope it's great.
All right. I hope so too. I
can just hold on to hope. We know we were all a little bit let down and deflated after season 8. Some people were more than a little bit let down. I'm sticking with a little let down. Some people loved it.
It was predictable.
As we know, there are a lot of dumb people in the world, so I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. No,
and they vote.
They're free to love it. Yeah.
Yep. That was a great SNL sketch on their season finale. Sketch? Bit? I don't know. Skit.
Wow.
About dumb people voting. Then, House of the Dragon, we know that's going to be weekly because that's how HBO rolls. That starts August 21st. Not to be outdone, Amazon will be plopping down Lord of the Rings. What's it called? Rings of Power. On September 2nd.
My God.
So we're going to have those shows running concurrently. Yeah, we're fucked, babe.
We'll be all right.
And then if that wasn't enough, on September 9th, 1 week after Lord of the Rings starts, and in the middle of House of the Dragon, we have Cobra Kai Season 5 dropping on Netflix. It looks like it's going to be epic. I'm very excited. Or is that Season 4 or Season 5?
No, it'll be Season 5.
Season 5.
Cobra Kai.
The trailer, remember I made you watch that teaser trailer?
Yeah.
It looked pretty fun. I love that Chozen is going to be both goofy and scary all season long as the new, like, good guy sensei. He's going to be a blast. And then, we don't have an exact date, but I'm guessing when we cover Geeked Week, that's hard to say. Babe, try saying
It does
Geeked
not-
Week.
They
Geek
did
Week.
not do that well.
Not Geek Week. Geeked Week.
Geeked Week.
Doesn't
Who
it?
did that?
Netflix.
What dummies?
Say it,
Who-
J. Sarge.
Geeked Week.
Geeked Week. It doesn't roll off the
Yeah,
tongue, right?
it's not natural. Yeah. Geek of the Week.
So I'm
Geek of the
guessing.
Week.
I'm guessing they'll have more information.
The
But
Sopranos in space. Oh, Geek of the Week.
the Witcher spinoff Blood Origin is coming December 2022, but we don't have an exact date yet. And then I've got more shit on my list. We got Willow, which is rumored to be 2022, but I find that hard to believe. I just found out about this before we started recording. J. Sarge, tell us about Cyberpunk Edge Runners, also supposedly 2022.
It's a series on Netflix, animated. That's literally all I know. We're
Awesome
gonna know more
information.
about June 8th.
You told us about this. You brought this into our world. Cyberpunk 2077.
And I told you everything I knew. And now you're mad that that's all I wasn't teasing you. I wasn't bearing the lead. I was just,
when I was in high school, my friends and I did play a tabletop role-playing game called Cyberpunk 2020, where in 2020, everybody had fancy cybernetic attachments in their bodies and could do awesome, amazing things and or go psychotic because of their loss of humanity. That didn't exactly happen in real life.
yeah, we don't need cybernetics to lose our humanity, we found.
Oh, that's
So
sad.
true.
That's so sad. But so the video game that came out recently is Cyberpunk 2077. So now we're kicking the can down the road. By 2077, our world will have cybernetics and lawlessness, rampant lawlessness, and corporations will run everything.
Yeah,
So-
sounds like a real change.
Yeah.
Well, cybernetics, I guess.
It's going to be a treat. Anyway, I guess there's a animated series coming out based on this video game, and I feel like we got to check it out, right? So Cyberpunk Edge Runners, again, I think we'll find out more during Geeked Week on Netflix.
Yeah.
Fallout. What? Yes?
Oh, sorry. No,
No,
go ahead.
please.
I don't want to.
No, what were you going to say, man?
I was going to say it's interesting that we have so many fantasy things are going kind of backwards, like toward fantasy, like traditional fantasy worlds, and not looking forward into not so much cyberpunk the game or the IP, but that sort of genre. It's not really forward looking. I know that's left for science fiction mostly, but it's just interesting.
You mean the fact that everything's so bleak in that future? The dystopian future?
It's like everybody. We have a dearth of dwarves and elves and dragons and bullshit coming, and we have one animated show on Netflix.
I see. Just the
people with cybernetics who are like, yeah, I can make you have to reboot your optics from here. Boom.
There's been a couple other things. Netflix had that one series based on League of Legends, right? I mean, that was kind of it's like a steampunk, but sort of a more sci-fi than fantasy, I would say, right? But
Sure.
that's not to say there's a lot of sci-fi. I don't know.
It's
maybe we're
weird,
just not.
right?
I mean, there's like new Star Trek series, right? But we haven't watched any of those.
So much Star Trek. Yeah.
The Orville. There was that Isaac Asimov series, Foundation, I think.
Foundation. Yeah.
And we were kind of on the fence about whether or not we should watch it. So our Foundation diehard fan friends, Kim and Eric, watched it first, and they said, eh.
Yeah.
And then we got tons of superhero shit, which is somewhere between sci-fi and fantasy itself, depending on the hero.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so Fallout, Amazon's Fallout series, which we are very excited about, is still basically in pre-production. They're still doing casting announcements and shit, so whatever. That's going to be a long time away. Wheel of Time Season 2 is theoretically late 2022, but there is no date yet. Nothing confirmed. Once again,
Are we going to have Fantasy Burnout when it comes out late in 2022?
that is very possible. After Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and The Witcher, Blood Origin, it is possible that Wheel of Time will not feel quite so special. Because, Season 1 did come out when we didn't have a whole lot else to fall back on, right?
Right.
That's an interesting point. Netflix, we're still waiting to find out more about the Sandman series, but that, again, will probably be covered in Geeked Week, because I think that's a 2022 release. No news on the new season of The Witcher. We did once talk about WandaVision on this show. That was a great piece of fun fiction. They're doing an Agatha Harkness spinoff series that will start filming late 2022. No real news on The Mandalorian season 3, probably late 2022 or early 2023. And maybe we'll get another season of the Book of Boba Fett, but there's absolutely no news on that.
Yeah, but Obi-Wan end of this week, right?
Oh my God, yeah. Are we going to watch that, babe? Do you care about Obi-Wan Kenobi's story?
I care about it.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't enjoy... Wait, no, I do want to see that, yeah. I just hope it's not going to be another thing like Boba Fett, Mandalorian spinoff, kind of like, I don't know. Those feel cheesy.
Well, I think I don't want to shit on Tamora Morrison or anything, but I feel like in terms of a camera presence and like gravitas, Ewan McGregor's got a little bit more going for him.
Right, for sure.
He probably still has his original hip. Just kidding.
What? Does Tamora Morrison not have his original hip? Or are you just generally making fun of him for being
sometimes when
old?
he's moving, I think, now there's a guy who moves like I feel. You know?
Well, but remember, he was half digested by a sarlacc and then dragged through a desert.
I should give him a break.
And maybe that's how, he's an older dude. He's like our age, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe that's how he can move in real life. So they kind of wrote the show around his capabilities, but
Yeah, but there were a couple times where it felt like watching Sam Jackson run in Captain Marvel, right? where it's like, oh, his face says 30s-ish, his body says 70s.
Wait, that reminds me of something. When I did Google the Book of Boba Fett, I think there is going to be a season 2, and somehow they've cast Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know in what role, but he can't be a Jedi.
Yeah, he could. They could be doing the same thing they did with Luke Skywalker and doing the face replacement or.
Well, but he died.
Deep fake.
He got sucked
out
a window.
He would have already been dead. That's right.
What was his character?
Shoot.
Mace Windu. Mace Windu. I mean, I guess technically we didn't see him die on screen, right? We just saw him get sucked out a window like 1,000 or more feet in the air.
He could come back as a Force ghost.
He could have floated away and gone into hiding. He could come back as a Force ghost. That's also reasonable. If he comes back as a Force ghost. Well,
how many times on in the prequel? Well, it was the second prequel, right, where they're in the city and they're looking for the bounty hunter that's coming out, and there's so many levels to Coruscant, right?
Yes.
And in Clone Wars, they explored it. I mean, he's going to fall through 8 Stratos civilizations there. So somebody could have caught him.
It would be a hell of a turn. Just a big fuck you to George Lucas if we do a flashback to Mace Windu versus Palpatine and the big lightning bolts come and Mace gets shot out a window and then a couple seconds later he just falls into someone's living room. He dusts himself off. He's like, fuck, I gotta get out of here. He just runs. That would be pretty great. It's hard to imagine that happening in Boba Fett.
And walks right into the Pulp Fiction universe. He's going to be fine. Things work out for him. Right?
Yeah, no, I think that would be great. So that was all my news. There is a lot of stuff coming up over the second half of 2022 for us to watch, and we will do our best to come back here and talk about them. Fair?
Agreed.
I can't make promises on how often. Life keeps getting more and more complicated, but we will try.
Okay.
All right. Fair. All right. So what did we really come here to talk about today? We got to talk about George R. R. Martin. J. Sarge, what is an Elder Ring?
It's an Elden Ring, first of all.
Oh, right. Elden. What does that even mean? What does Elden mean?
Also, I just want to make it clear. I don't know if it's coming through the microphone, but this is the chair. Okay. It's a squeaky chair. I apologize. I've been trying not to move.
I hadn't been noticing it. My chair's a little squeaky too if I wiggle.
Okay.
So Elden Ring. This is your fault. I think we should.
Yes.
So we play video games. We play video games together sometimes.
Sometimes by every night almost.
Right. And we have a group of 4. I'm still having a hard time remembering how we all got together. Well, Jacob, our friend Jacob, is an old friend of mine. And then I don't know. I was just chatting with you about, I guess, podcast music, and somehow it turned out we both played Fallout on Xbox. I don't know how that all happened, but there are 4 of us. We've been playing video games together for the last few years, at least. We have most recently been playing stuff in the Borderlands series.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you got to play other games on the side by yourself. Cyberpunk 2077 became that for a while. Fucking great game. Babe, how do you feel about Cyberpunk 2077? You seem to take to it.
It's all right. I mean, I don't enjoy the atmosphere, but I like the game, you know. It's a good game because that's my type of game, but I also don't like that you can't play with your friends.
Hopefully that's just a yet, but that remains to be seen.
So, you know, if it was a different atmosphere, I would like it much better.
Do you not like the just sort of a sci-fi, or is it the dystopian punk future specifically?
I think that's what it is, yeah.
It's all very bright and shiny. But
I like pretty natural things, I think.
Well, that would definitely steer you more towards fantasy stuff.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? I don't like space type of... Well, I mean, as long as it's pretty. I guess that's all right. I enjoy like medieval type of Skyrim stuff.
Sure. Nothing wrong with that.
There we go.
I mean, I do too. I never wanted to really play shooters, but Fallout kind of sucked me in. Many a year ago, watching you play, actually, when you were playing Fallout 4, and I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed now. And then I had to play, and then became a daily occurrence.
Mm-hmm. I love Fallout still.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, more nature-y.
Yes.
But also sci-fi. Because the world's been destroyed.
Correct.
In Cyberpunk, it's all run by corporations. Yeah.
I mean, we're there almost in both situations. Both. You know. Mm-hmm. We're going there.
J. Sarge, what about you? Fantasy versus sci-fi?
I think I like sci-fi better.
Really?
I had to choose. If I had to go one way or the other, I like the idea of, I feel like, okay, and I do like, don't get me wrong, it's like, when I'm saying I like one better than the other, it's just barely, but I like the idea that science fiction can actually, there's a possibility to take me to new worlds and stuff. I feel like a lot of fantasy feels the same. It has the same type of textures and backgrounds and lands and characters. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I mean, not all. And there are some things that cross some lines and things like that and scrape into new territories. But I don't feel like we've really, as a people, have really scratched our the true potential looking forward. So I feel like there's more to it there, but that's just me.
No, I get it.
And also Blade Runners, both Blade Runner movies are two of my favorite movies ever. So there's that.
There you go. We never saw the new Blade Runner.
We should watch it.
Beautiful.
I guess we should. Have you seen the original Blade Runner, babe?
It was so long ago.
Okay. Me too, I guess. It's been a long time, but I think I remember it enough to still go back and see the new one. Okay. Well, yeah. So most fantasy games, if you played Skyrim, and it appears like most of the world has by now, it's swords and sorcery and orcs and goblins and dragons. Right.
Oh my.
So at least Cyberpunk is different, except it's all humans. There's no, extraterrestrial yet.
There's robots and drones. And
robots. Sure. And vehicle driving.
There's AI. Right.
Yeah. And then, so if a lot of fantasy games tend to be very similar to each other, let's talk about George R. R. Martin's vision for the world of Elden Ring. Because I feel like it breaks the mold a little bit. Is that fair to say?
Possibly.
Okay. All right. So first, J. Sarge, what is the story of Elden Ring? I need a refresher. And you're the most experienced Elden Ring player.
No. Okay. There was Queen Marika, who's the ruler of all, right?
Okay.
She had the Elden Ring. I'm not completely clear. I have not played through the whole game, I'll admit.
That is allowable.
I'm not convinced it was a traditional ring per se. It might have been a crown or a person even. I don't know. But it was shattered into many pieces and scattered. And now her children kind of had this huge war trying to collect their pieces and reassemble it and take power. And they're known as the demigods, right?
Yep.
I feel like
that sounds about right.
I feel like this is a test. And Jeff and Jennifer are just both like red bark.
No. This was all explained in the very beginning.
There was a cinematic
intro, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it's still very. I mean, as far as stories go, it's pretty sparse and vague.
It is.
I went back and watched the trailers that they put out in the promotional material. And those tell you more about what's going on. Of course, I can't remember what happened, but yeah.
Might be good to revisit.
But anyway, there's this huge war, and as you wander around the lands, you can see evidence of it everywhere. The world is just completely broken and sad.
Yeah. Lots of ruins.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And basically, your character is a tarnished who's
tarnished, right? What's that?
Summoned to. I don't know what that means.
I think it's sort of some form of undead. Like you're not. You're kind of alive,
okay. But not exactly.
I thought it just meant you were like a bad, dirty thief or something.
Well, I kind of feel like the fact that you're tarnished has something to do with how when you die, you come back. Like, I think they've kind of written it into the world, so it's not just a reload your save game mechanism. You just come back. You vaporize into dust, and then you come back at like a site of grace, they call it. And I think that's because you're not a normal human.
Okay. Interesting.
That makes sense.
And possibly undead. There's this whole thing in the game too with like fingers.
Right. I don't like that.
The finger maidens.
Right. So if you're tarnished and you are sponsored by a finger maiden, then you're like a special tarnished. But then there's also like places in the tutorial and a couple other places early in the game where you can find like a severed finger. And those are the mechanisms for like getting another tarnished to help you, because you can do a little bit of cooperative play in the game or being invaded by another player, which happened to Jennifer the other day and it fucking sucked. Right.
Were you doing co-op or did you just...
It just happened.
I don't want to derail where we're going because I could talk to you about that.
It just happened.
We'll have to talk about it at some point. But yeah, she was just running around and all of a sudden her horse disappeared and then there was a glowing red guy coming at her. And
there are a couple places. There are a couple places where you actually get invaded and it's an NPC. It's like part of what it is. It's not actually another player coming in. That doesn't happen unless you're doing co-op or you've invited people in.
That's interesting. It looked like it must have been another player.
Well, that's good to know. I don't feel so like...
She was checking her settings later. She's like, what the fuck?
You were probably running up that like thin that river canyon, right? There's like...
Probably.
Deep, high walls on both sides. You're kind of going up the river and then there's your horse goes away. And if you wait long enough, a guy will actually come and help you fight that thing.
Oh, really? He killed me though. The guy killed me.
Yeah. He's tough. If you're I would wait to go there until you've knocked out a couple dungeons.
I didn't mean to go there. I just wander around.
No. Well, yeah, that's kind of how the game works, though.
Yeah, Jennifer finally got into the game.
Little skull, and then move on.
We were up way too late last night, and she was just exploring, I think, more than anything. Just exploring the world. Once you get your horse, so you get this super cool horse that can like... It's sparkly and it comes when you call it, and then
it just appears under your ass when you call it.
And it jumps, and then it can double jump. Whenever it double jumps, it makes this like little shing, and like little sparklies come out of it.
It's cute.
I love how it does appear right under you, and you can be running away from something and summon it, and it like
it's right
just in stride. Yeah, Yep, just picks you right up. But the story is: so there was a ring, it was broken. The queen is dead.
Yeah, America's gone.
Okay, so
I don't know if she's dead. I know she's gone.
And all of the demigods that are fighting for the pieces of the ring are her children.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Okay.
What was the queen's name?
Somehow related. Mariko.
Mariko?
America. She's the one that has those armless statues that you can resurrect at.
Okay.
America.
Statues.
So now you as the player, like these demigods are these ginormous, super powerful, humanoid-ish beings. And your job as a little tiny dude, like a normal dude or dudette, is to get all the pieces of the Elden Ring for yourself. I think.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And then what are you supposed to do with them? Do we know?
I don't know. I'm really not that far in the game.
So yeah, the tricky part about this game. So this game was written by George R. R. Martin, right? And created by From Software, who is famous for doing the Dark Souls games. If you've heard of those, if you are a gamer, I know our listener or former listener, I don't know if he's around anymore, but Lionheart, he used to talk to us all the time about Game of Thrones stuff. He was deep into Dark Souls games. So I can imagine he must be playing Elden Ring. Hello, if you're listening.
He's listening, he's probably going, "You idiots!" Because this is for all three of us. This is our first Souls game per se.
Yes, I never really wanted to play a Dark Souls game because I spend a lot of time, like when I'm multitasking, if I'm doing something for work or whatever, and I'll just put on YouTube and I get a lot of videos from a couple channels where it's like, 10 times the video game was broken before it was released, and 7 times the boss monster was killed by another boss monster, like those kind of video game lists. And Dark Souls shows up a lot, and it's always on lists of like the 10 times that you wanted to fucking put your head through a fucking TV. it's going to be like 5 of the entries are from the Souls games from Software, and how fucking hard they are. But the claim to fame with this one is that it's a true, really true open world. If you can see it, you can go there, and you might have to run past some scary shit, but you can basically go anywhere in the world, seemingly at almost any time, and just find something that you can handle. And if you can't handle it, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Babe, you got out of the tutorial zone last night. You saw the big open world in front of you. And first of all, what was your reaction to that? You open these doors from a catacomb and you see green and gold. What did you think?
Finally.
Okay. I thought you would have been more like, ooh, so pretty. But
it was
pretty.
It was pretty. Mm-hmm.
And then you saw this really cool looking horseman off in the distance. You went to go say hi. What happened?
He kicked my shit. He killed me like in one blow. I was like, hi, how are you?
Yeah. So that's how the game, you go through a tutorial. You can go through a tutorial. Apparently it was something where people were clicking through the pop-up messages too fast. And a lot of people were like, I'm not going to drop down that dark hole. There's clearly a door right here. I'm going to go check that out. So some people haven't even seen the tutorial. But even then, the tutorial does kind of hold your hand. And then you go out into this world and there is no more hand holding.
Yeah.
And they put a boss right there that you cannot kill.
Yeah. It's not like leveled.
Yeah. There's not much else in that area that could pose any kind of reasonable threat to you. But there is that boss just hanging out there. What's his name, J. Sarge?
Sir.
The Tree Guardian.
The Tree Guardian.
Yeah.
There we go.
What's he there for?
He's like the Lorax.
You're supposed to go back and fight him later?
That's about it. Yeah. No, I think he's there as just kind of like, look, there's going to be stuff in this game that looks like cool and badass, and it's going to kill you. So
yeah, so don't go up and try to say hi.
Travel with, don't go up and try to say hi.
I remember a time
on the other hand, don't let that scar you, because there are NPCs that you can approach and talk to.
A few.
My trick that I've done is I've found that you can't target the NPCs.
Good
so
to
if
know.
you get close enough to target them and you can't, you might be able to talk to them.
Okay.
Or at least they're not going to immediately, what would you say, kick your shit? Is that what you said?
Kicked my shit.
Kick your shit.
Yeah, because I was playing on my own screen and we were doing kind of side by side, and I'm anxious enough playing the game by myself because it's a very stressful game, and I'm watching Jennifer play as well, and I'm getting anxious for her because I'm watching her like she just runs up to say hi to this very nice looking soldier man who's just sitting at a campfire, and he pulls out his sword and stabs her in the face. I'm like, no. She's like, but he looked friendly. I'm like, no one is your friend here.
Even the people who don't immediately kill you probably aren't your friend.
Right. I found that too. Like I've been like, I'll go up to some place and I'll be like, oh, it's just like, there's people here that look like they're just hanging out. Why are they going to be mad at me? I didn't do anything. And I'm like, oh, I'll just walk up and see what happens.
Nope.
And they'll just stand around for like a couple seconds and then they'll attack you.
Oh God. And then like, I can't hear what Jennifer's hearing because she's got a headset on and I got my headset on, but I see her shortly after that whole incident. I see her charging at this dude on a horseback with this huge sword across his back. Not like a boss, but just a normal dude, but a normal sized horse, but a big sword. And she's running at him. I'm like, oh God, what are you doing? And she said like something like, he's calling out for help. I'm like, no, it's not that
guy. She found Bach.
She found Bach. So yeah, the dude is literally a bush and you have to free him from his bush form.
Trim the bush.
Yeah. Trim the bush. And then you'll find an actual friend.
I don't think I ever did that.
This podcast brought to you by manscaping.com.
We should try to get them as a sponsor. That sounds fun. Yeah. So, but the thing is, so let's take Bach as an example. So if this was Skyrim, you would probably hear a bush calling out to you, but then you'd like look around and you'd probably see like a blurb of text above, like a subtitle bar or something like above, some indicator that like that's the bush that's talking.
Right.
And it would be clear and obvious and you would go talk to the bush and then things would happen. In this game,
then you would have like a waypoint to meet him to where he wanted you to go.
Oh, right.
And where you'll meet him next, that kind of thing. You would have an entry in your journal.
That's right.
You have none of these things in this game.
There is no quest journal in this game. Yeah. So like you free Bach and he tells you his little sad story. And then he says he's going to go try to get something. I don't want to say what, but he's going to go try to get a thing from his old tribe. And they're in a cave that's on a shore around this area, whatever. And he tells you all these things. None of it goes into a journal. And also you don't know what the fuck he's talking about anyway, because this game doesn't tell you anything. Now, since the game's a few months old and we were a little slow getting there, you can Google a lot of this stuff or you can just explore the world. But there will be no
go this
arrow.
Way, right?
Right. Like if you find
the sites of grace,
yes,
they'll point you in the direction you're supposed to go.
In a direction. Like each site, some sites of grace have an agenda and they point you in a direction. But then
it's only like 10 feet that they're pointing you. It's like, here, go
right,
this way.
It's just generally go that way. Yeah. Right. It's 10 feet on the map that is like 1,000,000 feet across. Like it's a huge map. Yep. And it doesn't even give you the whole map. You have to find the pieces of the map as you go around the game. It just gives you like one little piece to start with.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's stressing out just thinking about it.
You start out following the graces and they point you one way. But if you go the opposite way enough, you will find graces that point you another way.
Okay, but let's say you follow the graces, J Sarge, because I did this. Okay. So you get out and you avoid the tree guardian because of the YouTube videos and stuff. I already knew about the tree guardian. Like that had come across loud and clear through the internet of like, when you get out of the Elden Ring tutorial, don't go up to the fucking tree guardian. Just go another way. So I get out of there. I stop at a site of grace where there's a little thing and someone talks to you and then it points you in a direction. And if you follow that direction, you will come to an area where there's a bunch of soldiers and they're guarding some stuff and you can sneak around there. But there's another site of grace right next to that. And you sit there and there's a little cinematic and that's when you get your horse and everything's great. Happy, happy, happy times. So the site of grace pointed you in the right direction. But then the new site of grace points you through this gate that's right next to the site of grace you're sitting at. That's where you're supposed to go next. If you walk or even just trot your horse through that gate, you'll be dead in like 10 seconds or less. You're going to get shot by like 4 or 5 dudes with crossbows. And then if you somehow trot your way past them, a fucking 50-foot tall giant drops out of the sky.
That's true. But I think a lot of people like us who are new to these kind of games, and I don't know how the Souls games worked at all, but I feel like this game, that sense of urgency when we see, oh, we need to go this direction, we're like, oh, that's where we got to do to move the story forward to get the character, blah, blah, blah. But this game doesn't really have this and doesn't need you to act with a sense of urgency. You can take all the time you want. And really, you can in all games, but especially in this game.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, go there when you're ready. You can kill these guys as many times as you want right here.
Yes. Well, and the thing is, like, even if you get past that gate, which you can do with your horse, you know, you can speed through that area. Like, as it continues to point you in the direction, and you really have, like, you have no quest journals, so you're not really sure what else you're supposed to do. So if you follow those arrows, it takes you to your first castle, where you will again immediately get firebombed by a flaming fucking ballista. And if, God forbid, you could get past that, there's a boss that there's no way in fucking hell you're going to beat because you're fresh out of the cave of knowledge. You don't know anything yet. You will definitely be destroyed. So yeah, the way the game points you around, if you haven't played the Elden Ring yet, but you're a George R. R. Martin fan and you want to check it out, do it. But as I was saying to Jennifer last night, like, once you get out of that starting area, just explore. Just explore and find, you know, whether it's critters or just dudes with swords and armor, like, get good at killing those. Practice killing them, because you're going to be a lot of killing and you got to get better at it before you go tackle any of the big stuff. And it helps if you also level up a little bit. There's a interesting and unique, very free form level up system that I deeply appreciate, because I do not particularly care for a class-based game. And this is not class-based. It's just, here's a starting template and then be whatever you want to be. And I do love that. But you got to just explore and then practice killing more than anything else. Practice killing, practice getting away.
Yeah. Practice running away is the first skill you should learn. Practice killing is second, and third, killing from a horse. It's a fun and a valuable skill in this game.
It is. It's super fun. And somehow a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Find a weapon that speaks to you, you know, because there's so many, and they're like, even the ones that are similar, like the same kind of swords, they have slightly different, you know, action skills or whatever, you know,
there's like every weapon has its own little bonus action.
Cool and pretty.
So do you get your weapons from killing people?
You can. Yes. You can.
There are some weapons you can find in chests.
Okay.
Well,
I don't think I've actually found much yet, because I just keep getting killed, but because I keep trying to talk to people.
Oh,
right. That'll get better. Yeah, like the first weapons I found were actually in that gatefront ruins area, where there's just a bunch of soldiers and a couple of wolves. But you can get most of those soldiers either alone or just two of them at a time and kill them on horseback. You know, in your case, you have magic spells. And then there's two treasure chests that both have weapons in them. I don't know if those weapons will speak to your character, but...
Because I have a sword and a staff, and that is all.
And you need the staff to cast your spells, and the sword is fine.
Can I get a new staff?
Oh, yes.
I'm sure.
There are many staffs in the game.
I haven't actually seen a single staff yet, which I find kind of weird. Now, my character, I wanted to try being... I've heard a lot of people have said that being a magical class is like easy mode on this game. It's the way to go because you can kill everything from a distance. You barely have to aim half the time. And, you know, being at a distance is really key, so you don't just get your shit kicked all the time. I wanted to go... Well, and what? Being a big knight in shining armor is easy at first, but then harder later? Is that fair to say, J. Sarge? Do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You need to have something that gives you a little bit of a leg up on a lot of the stuff you're going to fight. Yeah. I mean, I know there are people that do just go, you know, straight melee and stuff, but it's clearly harder. I mean, that's how I started as well. I didn't want to get into the magic because that has never appealed to me in games. Even in Skyrim, I played it so many times, and the only time I ever used magic was for healing.
Sure.
Or eventually I got to the one where I would, where you could conjure your sword and fight with it. I like doing that. Yeah.
Because you get like a really...
Yeah. But that's just never appealed to me. It's weird. But as I'm going through, the further I get into this game, the more I realize I need something. I had been fighting a tree that was kicking my ass, and I finally went at it with a really low-level flame spell I was able to use, and I killed it.
Oh, really?
Killed it dead. Oh. Yes. Oh, it's super dead.
Yeah, there's another thing about the game, learning what things' weaknesses are, and that just goes for straight-up weapon types, too, because some weapons are slashing, piercing, crushing, different kinds of weapons. And so like against a knight in shining armor, you're going to want a crushing weapon instead of a slashing weapon. A slashing weapon's not going to do very good damage against those guys. So those are other things that you have to kind of experiment with or Google them, but keep it in mind as you go. It's a phenomenally hard game, but when you win, when you beat something, oh, what a feeling.
The more you play it, you'll start feeling, you'll have a little more confidence with things, and it doesn't feel so crushingly hard.
Yeah, and I'm sort of hitting that point, but I'm still petrified at the same time. Well, so like I went into the first castle finally, and I was penetrating fairly well, I thought, getting past a bunch of guys, like all these guys that like lob fire bombs at you.
Now, are you talking Stormvale or Morn?
Stormvale. Yeah.
Okay.
The first.
I would contend that's not actually the first castle.
It's the one the Sights of Grace want you to go to.
Yeah, eventually, Jeff. There's also this whole thing in the Weeping Peninsula. If you go the other way and you start seeing the Graces that point you back toward Castle Morn, there's the Fort Hate, which is like a primer for having to fight on different levels and in different spaces and stuff.
That's fine, but that place is barely a castle.
Yes, no, but it primes you for Castle Morn, which is a starter castle.
That's not a starter castle. I got my ass kicked a lot in that place. There's like 11 harpies that come at me.
Compared to Stormvale, it is a very, very much a starter castle. It kind of gives you a sense of
I'm not going to go back to Stormvale.
The labyrinthine nature of the maps, and the different ways you can explore, and the platforming and things like that.
Well, fine.
I know it's your favorite.
Well, because I went into Stormvale, I finally got past the Guardian of the Gate, which was not easy, but I got into Stormvale, and there's all these guys that are throwing firebombs at me, and I was kind of okay, but kind of struggling. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go hunt animals, make a bunch of crossbow bolts, and come back. And then I'm going to be able to take these guys out at distance, which it turned out it's actually easier to just dodge their shit and charge at them. But then as I cleared out the whole like area on the place of the castle where you go into, there's one door I can open, and then it like cuts to the quickest cinematic I've ever seen. And then this gleaming knight with a two-handed sword comes out and annihilates me before I can even think about what the fuck just happened. And I go back and try it because when you die, you drop your runes, which are like experience points and money at the same time. That sucks.
The only currency. I love that.
I fight my way back to him, try to get my runes back, and I kind of do. And I'm like able to sneak up behind him and hit him like twice. And then he annihilates me in one hit again. So I'm like, fuck this, fuck everything. So I don't know when I'm going back to that castle, but I guess I could go try your castle again too, where I went and I got my ass kicked, but I'll try it again. I'll try it again for you, J Sarge. Maybe as soon as we hit stop on this recording.
Okay.
But look, to sum this up, Elden Ring. Sum up Elden Ring, J Sarge. You're our special guest.
Well, I think it's just a really broad, expansive game that doesn't hold your hand, but it gives you the ability and the freedom to play it exactly how you want.
Yep.
If you want to find an easy way to kill a boss, you can. If you're having a hard time killing an enemy, you can get them to chase you down a ladder in some places, or you can climb up a ladder and get away from them. And then when they climb up it, you kill the shit out of them. You kick their shit, and I've played so many games where it has to tell you so much, so many details. It needs you to know about this lady that lived in this house. And this game doesn't give a shit about any of that. And it lets you fill in those holes. So I bet you, if you talk to 100 different people who finished the game and had them explain the lore, you would have 100 different versions of it. And not just that everybody's story is a little different. I mean, there are gaps in this story, that it doesn't need you to know. That's not what's important. It hits the broad strokes hard, and it's I find that very intriguing. And that's one of the things I like about it. It also doesn't give you a list of crap to do. So you never log in thinking, "Oh, I should finish this." Yeah. No, you have no chore list in this. You have no chore list. So, and I like that about it.
These are all very good points.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, I feel like there's a joke there somewhere, and I can't quite nail it, about how this came from George R. R. Martin's writing, and it's full of gaps and stuff that you just don't need to know. I'm not sure where the joke is there.
There is a joke. I told you about it. I told you about it. Because there was a cartoon somebody sent me on the internet where the Miyazaki comes to George R. R. Martin and says, hey, I want you to write the story for this thing. And he's like, I'm not really great at finishing stories. It's like, well, this job is going to be perfect for you. So, I mean, if you want to see the George R. R. Martin, like, I think a lot of it comes in the names of the places, right? Like, there's Limgrave. It just feels like that his kind of fantasy places, you know?
Except there isn't a Y in everybody's name.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true.
He did back off of that.
I haven't gotten very far, so.
Yeah,
but like, there's a place called Murkwater, and I feel like something has been generally played out in fantasy in general, that there's like the Mirkwood Forest, and now there's Murkwater this, but that's also something, maybe that's not that it's played out, it's just one of those things that, like, this is an old fantasy place, so it's cool. Anyway.
It should also be noted that unlike the typical, like, dwarves and elves and goblins, there's really weird shit. Like, there's some sort of standard stuff like bears and horses.
Horses with horns.
Yeah, your horse has a horn. I have
2 horns. Mm-hmm.
2 horns.
And then, like a bull. But then, like...
or a goat.
And then there's something that looks like a goat, but then when it tries to get away from you, it curls up in a ball and rolls.
Yeah.
And then there's, like, these...
That's cute.
Land octopuses that are just like these weird fleshy masses with tentacles all over the place. Mm-hmm. They just look like someone coughed up like a hairball or something, but then it attacks you.
I feel like there was some kind of mush ball too that was like emitting some kind of gas.
Oh yeah, you tried to kill one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just this weird standing ball that spits poison but doesn't otherwise attack you or move. But then you get some standard stuff too, like there's just giant crabs.
Mm-hmm.
Giant crabs, lobsters.
Oh, and what's dragons. Really, you can walk up to like owls and eagles, and they'll just sit there and look at you for a while.
But if you can kill them, you can get their parts. You can get to make arrows and stuff.
Everything's good. Yeah, there are some things that are really fucked up. There's like a whole city of jar people.
Jar people?
Oh, you freed the jar guy.
Jars.
He's been very famous.
Oh, yeah. I did free the jar guy.
Alexander, I think the Iron Fist or something like that. He's a jar with a lid on top.
You kept telling me to hit him on, or he kept telling me hit me on the backside. And I'm like, I don't know.
What your backside?
What you want me to do? Your backside is buried in the dirt.
And then she came around the other side and she's like, is this his backside? And I was trying to say no. And she whacks him and he goes, that's my face.
Ow, that's my face.
Anything in this game could be somebody's face. I'm just saying, I mean, I know, Jeff, you've beaten Margit, so you have a sense of how fucked up some of the shit can look. But there have been some things that have just given me the skeevies seeing them. And I'm not going to tell you, you may have seen them on the internet, but when you get there and you experience them and how they move and how they come at you, it's just like, nope, not going back here for a long time.
I can't wait to see.
Like even the night bosses, the veiled riders, the Knights Cavalry, those things are freaky. The horse is veiled under the black kind of.
I don't think I've seen that.
You will. I had to run away from one, and it was like, this game's fucking stressful. I got to check my blood pressure after a session. Oh my God. It's very scary, but I got away from it and then everything was fine. Yeah, it's a fascinating world. It really is. And I don't know exactly how much came from George and how much came from the From Software guys just wanting to make weird shit. But it's a fascinating world, very hard game, but deeply satisfying. Anytime you accomplish something, you really feel like you earned it and you feel good about yourself. So that's nice. Then the other half of the time, you're like, fuck this fucking game. God damn it. So Jay Sard's been playing this the longest. He won me over to buy it. Babe, so I'm somewhere in the middle. Babe,
I have just started, right? Like, but so far, so good. I like it. What do you think?
You like it?
I'm not familiar enough yet with how the game works, so I'm a little bit annoyed, but that's always the case when I first start something. I just wish that they would make, like, all games universal for the
universal
controls.
What? Oh, the controls. Yeah.
I mean, at least like jumping and the basics.
Because then you go back and play a different game and you're like, fuck, I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, but it's probably good for your brain.
there might be an option to do some controller customization.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised. You might. I wonder if you have. That's more of a PC thing, but I feel like because there is an option to look at the controller, so I wonder if you can change some of that.
Oh my god. This game has no pause button. If you go into the menu to look at the controls, something could be creeping up on you and beating your face.
Oh yeah, that happened to me.
But there are lots of places where you can stand safely and stuff. You'll kind of get a sense of that as you go on. But the thing I think is funny about it is when any of us are playing it at the same time, we're not playing it together, but trying to describe what's happening. Like when we played Cyberpunk, we would say, "Oh, I'm here on the corner of this street and this, or I'm at this place," and it was pretty easy to tell what the other person was doing and where they were. And in this, like, it could be anything.
It's just like, I don't know.
In the middle of nowhere.
There's shit everywhere trying to kill me. Yeah, it's terrifying. But I'm having a good time with it. So thank you, J. Sarge, for sort of pushing it into our lives.
You're welcome. I hope you still feel like that in a week or a month.
Yeah. In a few months, we should reconvene with did we win the game? And if so, how was it? Or did we give up? Or are we still trying? But we're
Did you just drive to Salt Lake and stab J. Sarge in his sleep? Stab.
Never.
You brought this pain upon our family's house. Ah!
If I did that, who would
Just
do
in
our
case
music?
I'm not coming to any wedding invitations that I get for a couple of years.
Hey, good thing about
back to the Pot of Thrones, right?
Yeah, but now that you mentioned Game of Thrones, though, good thing about this game: whoever becomes king at the end with the pieces of the ring, it's not going to be Bran.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not in this game, so
yep.
Hooray!
I'm for it. Yeah.
All right. Well, then I think we've said enough. We've made our sales pitch. If you are playing Elden Ring, if you get Elden Ring after hearing us talk about it, let us know what you think. You can certainly, you can find us on email, jeff@potofthrones.com.
Jennifer@potofthrones.com.
And we're also, all of us are on Twitter. I'm at Pot of Thrones.
I'm at Kid Free Weekend.
J. Sarge.
Wow.
I'm at the J. Sarge.
At the J. Sarge. Right. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to hear some feedback. I'd love to hear what you guys are going through. We'll be there for you. Just let it all out because.
Or if you've been through it, tell us we're going to be okay or that we're not going to be okay.
Whatever you're going through.
If we need it.
Whatever you're going through, whatever you've been through.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're all in it together.
We feel your pain. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Well, until next time, I think we'll be back soon with what did I say the first show was that was coming out? Stranger Things?
Yes.
Okay.
5 days.
So maybe we should do a Stranger Things catch up next time. But until then, thank you, J. Sarge, for joining us. It's been a pleasure. I'm sure we'll be talking online either any minute or hour now. So we'll see you.
As soon as I press stop, I'm gonna check my Xbox app to see if you're playing. Sending me screen captures.
We'll see you in the world of the Elden Ring one way or another.
In the Broken Lands.
In the Broken
Lands, my friend.
Yes, that sounds awesome. All right. Take care, everybody. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye for now.